What is up, movie buffs? Row Show movie reviews here. In this first installment, I want to get into giving you my opinion on the Halloween series, all 11 movies, and I'm going to rank these movies. I see a lot of people ranking these movies on YouTube, which I think is cool to kind of go through them and figure out what people like, what they don't like, what their favorite movies are. There's a lot of drastic differences in a lot of people's views on this series. So what I wanted to do was something a little bit different, and I'm not going to rank them based upon what I think is the best or the worst to the best. I'm going to rank them based upon what I think is the most enjoyable to watch all the way to the least enjoyable to watch, at least for me personally. Now, everybody knows when you do a review on anything, it's just your opinion. What I say doesn't have to be, what you agree with by any means. It's just, how I see it and how I feel about it. And with this series, I grew up a Friday the 13th fan when I was younger, and I'd say probably over the last 4 or 5 years, I've really started to have more love and appreciation for the Halloween series. So, it's really starting to be my favorite of all of the horror series. So I thought I would do this with it, coming up on Halloween. I thought it'd be a good idea to sort of do this. So this is my opinion, just my opinion of 11 to 1 from the least enjoyable to watch to the most enjoyable to watch for me personally. Not saying that this, film is the worst or this film is necessarily the best in the series, but enjoyability of watching it. If I'm going to go to the series and pull out the Blu-ray set, like what's the one that I'm least likely to grab to watch, and what is the one I'm most likely to grab to watch? So that's how I decided to do this. You can like it, you can dislike it, you can agree, you can disagree. I mean, it really doesn't matter. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into number 11 for me, and that is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I thought this movie was absolutely atrocious. I didn't understand it. There were certain dynamics and complexities inside of this movie that I didn't understand. Still to this day, it's the only movie I've ever paid for that I walked out of the theater on. When he's walking to the barn and there's the whole white horse thing and all that stuff's going on, I was just like, I don't understand this. It's really kind of just out there, bizarre, and I really just don't enjoy to watch it. I don't think there's a lot to it that is something that I would would go to if I was in the mood to watch a Halloween movie. Now, I will say over the last year or two, having gone back and watched both Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween 2, I do like them more than I did when I originally saw them, but I still think they're the worst movies in the series. So for me, 11, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Getting into number 10, Rob Zombie's Halloween. I understand what he tried to do when he made these movies. He was trying to do something a little bit different. He was trying to put a different spin on the Halloween story, on the background of Michael Myers and all that kind of stuff. But I felt like a lot of the vulgarity and the blood and the gore and things that he is kind of known for, his style, I just didn't think really fits well with Halloween. And you would say, well, isn't that what it's about? It's about, a slasher, a serial killer. And you're right, but it just felt to me like it was a little bit over the top. And I just didn't understand why certain things were the way they are. Again, I like them better than I did, I originally saw them when they came out in theaters, but I'm just not a huge fan of Rob Zombie's Halloweens. I'll watch them, but it's not like I'm like, oh, let me grab that and put that in. So number 10 for me, Rob Zombie's Halloween. Coming in at number 9, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Again, this is a movie for me that could float anywhere from 5 to 9 on the list, just kind of depending on how I feel. I don't dislike this movie. I just feel like there's some holes in the script and things that just don't make sense to me. And, I'm not a big fan of, Jamie being killed in the beginning and this whole thing with the baby. And what really irritated me was when she's like getting away in the beginning, and she puts this baby in this like cabin at this bus stop, and Michael goes and kills her in that farm on that farm equipment, and then he goes to leave and grab the baby and realizes it's not the baby, it's a roll of paper towels. Well, if Michael Myers can fucking find anybody anywhere, why wouldn't he just go back to the bus stop and be like, well, pretty sure that was the last place she had it, and tear that thing apart until he finds the baby? Yet, the character of Tommy Doyle comes and finds the baby and takes the baby. To me, that didn't make sense. Like, there's some things in the series that kind of irritate me with Michael Myers, when in the beginning he was like a cold-blooded killer and went after people, and there's some things that happen in certain movies in this series that kind of make you scratch your head and go, well, why was he acting this certain way before, and now he's like acting this way? It's just kind of holes in the plot. So again, I'm not a huge fan of the whole Thorn thing. It's okay. I do think Michael Myers in this movie is probably the creepiest that any Michael Myers is in the entire series. Maybe next to the first one. Very creepy. Very creepy portrayal of Michael Myers. This movie may be the creepiest and scariest and darkest of the entire series. I think that Wilbur's portrayal in this is much better than part 4. Like the opening scene where the nurse lets Jamie go away and she's just like standing, and behind her, like, you just see the mask come, and then that's creepy. It's creepy. So could be the darkest, could be the scariest of the series. And fluctuates for me, where it's really at, but I would say probably 9. Moving to number 8, this is probably where a lot of people are gonna fucking lose their minds, and that's okay. Number 8 for me, the original Halloween, 1978. I think it's the best of the series, the best movie. I think it might be the best horror movie ever made, but it is so damn slow and boring. I throw it on and start watching it, and then 20-30 minutes in, I'm like, I'd rather go, fucking do a load of dishes. It's just atrocious to try and get through this movie. And it wasn't more apparent to me personally than it was about 4 or 5 years ago. AMC brought it back a couple days before Halloween, and they brought it back into the theaters, and I went with my wife and my 3 sisters and their spouses, and there was 8 of us in the theater, and we're all like, this is going to be sweet. Like, the opportunity to see a movie on the big screen that has such a cultural impact, that, was made before any of us were really born. I was born in 82, so obviously couldn't see it in the theaters. And we're watching it, and we're probably 30, 40, 45 minutes in, and I look over at everybody in the row with me, and everybody's like this. Everybody's like, eyes are like they're ready to fall asleep. It's just so slow and so boring. So again, enjoyability of watching it, it's just not high on my list. It's not one that I grab. Like, the way I watch these movies is I don't watch these movies, January through September, and I don't watch them, in November or December. I literally will only watch these movies from October 1st to October 31st. And I do that because, to me, it makes it more special, and it fits with the time of the season. And I really like to get in that mode of, okay, the weather's starting to change, and it's really starting to get into this like fall, feeling, and it really helps set the tone for the movies. And so that's just like how I like to do it. I watch them 1 month out of the year. I do not watch them any other month of the year. And I've probably done that for over 10 years. Just haven't watched them in any other month but October. And that's just the reason I do it. And this October, and today I'm filming this, it's the 29th, I have not watched the original Halloween. I watched part 4 3 or 4 times. I watched part 5. I watched 6, 7, 8. I watched 2018. But I haven't watched this one. I think it's so boring. I mean, it moves so slow, and I understand the reasoning for that, and you know, the setup of it and everything. Like I said, it's a masterpiece. It's probably the greatest horror movie ever made. I'm not saying that, and I'm not in any way saying it's the 8th best movie in this series. It is the best movie in this series. It is just really slow. And if I'm going to go to the movie shelf and grab one out to watch, it's not going to be the original for that reason. So number 8, Halloween 1978, the original John Carpenter movie. You can hate it, dislike it, you know, think I'm a moron. Don't really care. Moving to number 7, Halloween 2. This would be the obvious, not Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but the follow-up to the 1978 original. I feel like it's a little bit better. It's a little bit more fast-paced. I do like the fact that, you know, they go to the hospital and Michael has to, you know, track Laurie through the hospital, and, you know, he's got that cool death where, you know, he puts the nurse's head in the boiling hot tub and pulls it out, and that's pretty cool. And, you know, I'm a Lance Guest fan, so you know, kind of cool to see him in there. And I just thought it was a little bit better done, a little bit faster pace for me and for my kind of taste. So you know, I'm just a bigger fan of Halloween 2 than I am Halloween. Don't think it's a better movie necessarily at all, just a little bit faster pace for my liking. So that'd be number 7. Getting into number 6, I'm gonna have to go with Halloween 2018. Again, I think it's actually a pretty decent movie. I really like the way that they did it. I thought that it was really well done, bringing back some of the creepy kind of things from the first movie, the second movie, into play, and really had the look of the mask is really cool in this one. I do like where they went with Jamie Lee Curtis's character, having her kind of obviously be this lady that's just been prepping this whole time, and it's just everyone thinks is a psycho, but she knows something that everybody else doesn't, and at the end she ends up being the one that, you know, looks sane when this whole time everyone's thought she was insane. Really like the booby trapping of the house and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was very, very creative, for a different take than kind of any other movie where, you know, Michael's just chasing everybody and they, you know, might fight back and get lucky on something, but this was planned, and to see her pull it off and execute it, I thought was awesome. I can't wait to see what happens in the final 2 installments that are going to get released over the next 2 years. The one thing I didn't like about this movie, and it's something that I really didn't like about the new Star Wars movies either, is this whole, we've switched this with the way society is going. We switched this whole mentality of, you know, back in the day it was, you know, women were in distress and the you know, the male figure saved them, and now we switched this because of this whole feminist movement. You know, if you look and watch this movie, all the males in this movie are stupid. They're all weak. They're all scared. They're all dumb, and it's all these strong women that have to save them in all these instances. And just thought it was a little over top. Not a big fan of that kind of movement and that kind of thing pushed in your face. I just want to go to a movie and enjoy it. I don't want to have to think about, you know, feminism, and that would be my one knock on this movie. Getting into number 5 is going to be Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. A lot of people, you know, I don't want to say necessarily knock this movie, but don't really like count it as part of the series because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. And I understand that. I get it. I was like freshman or sophomore in high school before I saw this movie. Didn't even know it existed. And I've really grown to love it. I mean, it's a really well done horror movie. Like, if they took Halloween 3 off, excuse me, and just called it Season of the Witch, it'd be one of the greatest horror movies of all time. Really well done. Tom Atkins is amazing in it. The script, the story, how they shoot it, the ideas, the music, I mean, everything just fits so well. It's such a well done horror movie. A really, really, really big fan of this movie, and I'm starting to see a lot more people have love and respect and appreciation for this movie over the years. So really happy to see it. Number 5, Halloween Season of the Witch, which will bring me to number 4 on my list, and that's Halloween Resurrection. Look, I know this movie gets a bad rap, and I totally understand why. There are things throughout this movie that bother me, but as far as like enjoyability and ease of watching, it's right up there. You don't have to like pay attention and watch it and really, pay attention to what's going on like you have to do in the original Halloween. It's just easy to watch. I like bringing in the technology aspect. I don't actually mind Busta Rhymes' character in this movie at all. I think some of the kills are cool. I think the concept, the idea is cool. And really just kind of a modern, fresh kind of take on the series. Something different that hadn't been done before. Again, by all means, not the best movie of the series at all. But just easy and enjoyable for me to watch. So number 4 will be Halloween Resurrection. Getting into number 3, Halloween 5. Again, another movie that gets a bad rap, and I totally understand it. Tina's character is probably the most annoying of the entire series. Totally get that, totally agree. But I like the beginning when Michael's crawling through the mine shaft and that whole thing. I like some of the things they do with like hiding him in plain sight. I'm just a fan of this movie. This is a movie that was lower on my list years ago, and is sort of over the last couple years started to move towards the top. Just based upon, again, I just enjoy watching it. I enjoy the way that it's filmed. I enjoy outside of Tina, the cast of characters, and sort of this different take. Obviously, the ending with the whole Thorn thing and him being broken out of jail and all that kind of stuff is kind of weak. But this is just a movie, again, that over the years I've kind of grown some appreciation for and just really like. Next year it could be number 8 on my list. I don't know. But for now, part 5 is number 3. Moving to number 2 on the list is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. An excellent movie. Again, another movie that has really grown on me over the years. I think the beginning of this movie, the opening, the first 2 minutes, going through the town and all this old farm equipment with creepy Halloween decorations on it and whatnot, is probably the coolest opening in the entire series. Super, super, super like it. Enjoy it. The mask is probably one of, if not the worst in the series. But I like, Brady's character, and I like, the hillbilly bartender and all his buddies, coming out and trying to get Michael Myers. I like the whole scene of being locked up in the house at the end. Just thought it was really, really well done. And Michael Myers, returned to the big screen. I thought it was a really good movie, and it's one that I really enjoy to watch. That'll bring me to number 1, my favorite movie of the series, as well as the most enjoyable for me personally to watch, and that's Halloween H2O. People are either like this movie or dislike this movie. There's not really any in between that I've seen personally, at least. But for me, this movie represents a time in my life. I remember seeing this movie in theater. It was the late 90s when we were like really on the verge of like starting to get into technology, and it was a much simpler time before that whole thing happened. And a really big fan of the scene locations, the script itself, the characters. There's not one character in this movie I don't like. I understand the whole mask thing where there's 3 or 4 different masks used in this movie, and I agree with that. Like, if you're gonna do a movie that's this big, you have to like either get a good mask or stick to one. That's kind of irritating. But I think if you just watch it and don't like look for that, you won't really see it as much. But I'm just a big fan. I'm a big fan of this movie in general. It's one of my favorite horror movies, to be honest with you. I just really like it. I think it's really well done. I think there's a lot of depth and a lot of thought put into this movie. I think, you know, having Joseph Gordon-Levitt get the hockey skate through the face was so sick. I like Josh Hartnett's character. Just a really big fan. I think this is an excellent movie. And if I was going to recommend to somebody one Halloween movie to watch, this would be it, Halloween H2O. So that's my list. Again, if you like it, great. If you don't, fine as well. Again, I wasn't doing it, you know, from the worst movie to the best movie. Just enjoyability of me personally. If I'm going to go to the shelf and pick these movies up, that is the order that I would watch them in, from, you know, least likely to most likely. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, thumbs up, subscribe if you want, share it. I'm going to start doing more movie reviews like this. So, you know, until next time, I appreciate you watching, and take care.